In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can make your own custom happy birthday banner using my superhero alphabet letter collection in Silhouette Studio. Hello my friends and welcome back to my channel. If you are new, I'm Sam and welcome to the Ellie Rose Party Designs community. For the best DIY kids party planning advice, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified when I post a new video every Tuesday. Alrighty, so to get started in today's tutorial, we're going to be needing a few things. We're going to be needing our software, and the software of choice today is Silhouette Studio. I am using the business edition, but so mine might look a little bit different to yours. It's just an upgrade from the free version. Alright, so everything that I'll be showing you in this video you can pretty much use in the free software. If you are new to Silhouette Studio, please feel free to check out all of my tutorials that I have available to you on my channel. Alright, the next thing you'll be needing is obviously to download the alphabets, the superhero alphabet collection, which you will find on my blog. It is free to download, so feel free to check that out. All of these things that I am going to be chatting to you about, you can find everything in the description box below this video, so please feel free to check that out. The next thing you'll be needing is your template. Whichever template you decide to use, you would need to import that. And then you would be needing some sort of wallpaper and clip art for this tutorial. Alright, so I have a mixture of free stuff and stuff that I have also purchased on Etsy and other shops. Okay, what I would like to do first before I bring in all of my clip art and that is I'm wanting to change the layout of my canvas. So to do that, all we need to do is go over here to your page setup panel and click onto that, and I'm just going to change the orientation to landscape, which is there. Alright, so let's just close that now. Alright, so now I'm just going to import my different alphabet letters. So I'm going to use a mixture of all four different themes. So I'm going to go with my son's name, which is Cody, and we're going to bring in one Batman, and all I'm going to do is click and drag and pop you to the side. I'm going to go with O, and don't bring it on top, because if you bring it on top of that other letter, it's actually going to import that design on top of that. Okay, so always just bring it in. It's going to be Superman, which I'm going to use D, and I'm going to click. See what I mean? If I bring that in, it's going to change it, so you've got to bring it in and put it to the side. So Y, let's bring you in. So we've got C, O, D, and Y. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to highlight all of these. So I've got them all highlighted, and I'm actually going to just bring you down. So the next thing I am going to import is going to be my template. So I'm going to show you two different templates that I'll be using. So I will click and drag this one in, and that is just a plain SVG file that is a flag. And then I will also be importing my other template, which looks like this one here, and I'll bring that into the side, and that is pretty much just a PNG file that has little windows that are transparent. Okay, so it's up to you if you're wanting to use the SVG file or this, but I'll show you how to use both of them. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to import our wallpaper. So I am going to be using two different colors. I'm going to be using this blue one and this red one. So I'm just going to click and I'm going to drag. Actually, I'm just going to see what letters. So I've got that's going to be blue, that's going to be red. So ideally I want that to be red and that to be blue. So let's go in here and I'm going to do red first. So all I'm going to do is click and I'm going to drag it straight on top of my flag. Alright, and it's kind of just snapped it into place. So it's kind of like copied it into that shape. Alright, so now just so you are aware, if we go over here, you will see that it is roughly all the way down here to about just under 8 inches. Okay, and then if I go over here, it is pretty much about 5.5. Okay, so it's 8 inches in length and 5 inches in width. Okay, so it's up to you on how big you want to make it. So I'm just going to keep it as is. All you need to do is click onto it and drag it up. Whoopsie, sorry, click and drag it down, and it will show you that that is 4.3 by 3.1. All right, or you can just bring it up and drag it back up to whichever size you want. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to click and I'm going to drag my, first of all I'm going to highlight all these and click and bring it to front, because now they'll come to the front, and I'm just going to make them to a size that I want. I think that's a pretty good size. Okay, but obviously I will be using this one here. All right, so you could just have it just like that, and then obviously CODY, so the rest of the name, and be done with it. Up to you. But to make it stand out a little bit more, you can even add in some clip arts to it. So I'll show you. So all I'm going to do is I am actually going to make an offset around this. All right. Now an offset is pretty much just a white border around your design. Now if you click onto it, it is actually a PNG file, all right? So it has already got an invisible box around it. You can see by the shape of the, when I highlighted it, it'll clicked onto it. All right, so if I went ahead and put an offset around it, the offset is going to be a square box, because it knows that it's meant to do an offset, but it's doing an offset around that transparent box. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so we don't want that, so let's just delete that off. What we're going to have to do is we're going to have to trace and detach it. So we're going to click onto our trace panel, which is this one here, and click select trace area, and I'm just going to trace it around. So all we're pretty much doing is tracing around the letter and removing the box that it's in. Okay, so if you are new to Silhouette Studio, it's pretty much just taking away the background. Okay, even if you had a white background around it, you would do the same thing. All I'm going to do then is hit the threshold, and I'm going to probably go to, let's see, yeah, let's go all the way up to 100, and then I'm just going to hit trace and detach, and then you will see if I move you out the way, and if you highlight all of those, you will see that that is what we got rid of, and then I will just hit the delete button. Now if I click onto you and I hit the offset, it's now going to put an offset around that, but I'm wanting to reduce that offset to say 80, oopsie, 80, and hit apply. Okay, and then also going to change the color, so keep it highlighted, and I'm going to change the color to white, and I want my border and my outline also to be white. Okay, now you can see over here it's actually not attached, so what we need to do is attach it. So I'm just going to highlight everything, and I'm going to hit this button here, and that's going to group it together. It's now one layer. All right, whereas before it was 2 layers. So if we now take this and we bring it straight on top, let's just maneuver this way, you'll see that it now stands out just that little bit more. Okay, so sometimes it is quite nice to have a bit of a border around it. Okay, another thing we can also do is maybe add some clip art. So I'm just going to go over to my folder, and I'm just going to, so this was a Batman, so let's go and see if we can find our Batman, which is this one here. Click, and I'm going to drag you straight into it. Now you might be able to find all of your clip arts in your folder, in your library, which is just over here. All right, or yours might be under File and under Library. Okay, if you've already imported some of your clip art. Okay, so let's see what we have here. Let me just click you off. All right, as you can see that this is a JPEG file, and what it has is it's got a white box around it. So we want to remove that white box so that we can add it into our design. All right, so what do we need to do? We do the exact same thing. We click onto the trace panel, hit the select trace area, and I am just going to highlight everything like so. Highlight the whole box. I'm then going up the threshold, and you want to make sure that the entire design is covered. So I've gone too far if your image becomes all like distorted like that. So let's just bring it back down to about there. The main thing to do is obviously make sure that your design is completely covered in yellow, as in your outline of your design, sorry, is completely covered. And once you're happy with that, you click on to trace and detach. So it's not always going to be 100%, it might be 80% or it might be 95%, whatever it is. You want to make sure that it's not distorted when you have got the threshold on, but it has completely covered or highlighted the outlining of your image. Okay, and then all I'm going to do is click onto here, and I'm going to hit delete, and the same thing over here, delete, delete, and delete, and there is my design. I'm then going to click and I'm going to drag you into it, say about. So what you could do, just to make it stand out even more, you could almost do all of your superheroes individually and cut those out with your cutting machine, and then actually pop dot them to the happy birthday banner, so that they kind of have that 3D look, so they or 2D look, whatever it is, and make it stick out a lot more. All right, so you could do something like that if you wanted to. Okay, and then you can keep going. So if I had to say, let's just do this again, so I want to just duplicate that. Okay, and I'm just going to highlight that because I don't really want that color. I want this one here. I'm going to drag you in and go on top. Okay, and then I'm going to find my letter, which was the O, which was there, and I'm going to pop you there. Now you can kind of do it without. Let's just take you out. Actually don't mind it too much without the white around it. Okay, let's just move you to the side. All right, and then you can keep going with all the different flags and that. Okay, so then what I would do is I would then print out my design and then either cut it by hand or cut it with my Cameo cutter. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how you can prepare your files to be used on the cutting machine. Now I've just noticed something. If I just move you and you to the side, there's a whole bunch of little cutting things that I need to remove. Okay, and put you back there, and let me just see if there's anything else on this side. No, nothing. Okay, so what I would do is, if I'm happy with that's the way it's going to be, I'm just going to highlight everything and group you together, and I'm going to highlight you and group you together. Okay, so the first thing I would do now is up to you. I sometimes use registration marks or sometimes don't. If it's a simple cutting out design like this, I probably wouldn't use the registration marks, but I'll show you obviously how you would do that anyhow. So, and for those of you that don't know what registration marks are, all they are is pretty much, it's a way of showing or telling your cutting machine where it needs to cut. But I find if I place my paper in the right position on my cutting mat, it pretty much cuts perfectly anyhow, and then I can actually save on a lot of paper, so I don't actually waste a lot of paper. Alright, so we're going to click over here. So the registration marks you will find once you click onto your page setup panel. You'll click over here into this third box, and you would turn on your registration marks. So what that does, what that pretty much means is that everything that you see with these little square boxes and the black, it won't print. So anything, sorry, it won't cut. So it won't cut over that, and also it won't cut past these red lines. So to me, I find that a bit of wasted space and a bit of wasted paper, so I tend to not even have it on, but it's really up to you. So if you did want to keep it, all you would need to do is just turn your image around and pop it in where it's not over. If it goes over those squares, it's not going to cut it, and if it goes over the line, it's not going to cut it. So you want to keep it within the actual red square thing. Okay, so then what you would do is I would then just have it like that, and then because this is already an SVG file, you can just straight away cut it, and by doing that you just go to your send. Okay, and then all you do is click cut edge, and it's now going to cut out the outside of my design. All right, and that's pretty much how you would then make your banner using that SVG file that I just showed you. Now I am going to show you another way, and I'm just going to turn off these registration marks for a second. Okay, so the next way I would normally do my designs is using my templates. Alright, so I'm just going to click onto this, and I'm just going to rotate it, and I'm just going to bring it in, and I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller. Now your template might be a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller than your canvas size. As long as your canvas size is the size that you would normally print with, so the canvas size is the paper that you are going to be printing on. Okay, so as long as your canvas is the correct size that it needs to be so that it can print on, then all you would need to do is just reduce the size of the template or increase the size, and then all you do obviously is using these little boxes on the outside of the template, and you either bring it up or you bring it down. Okay, so you can't see it because obviously it's all white, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to make myself a triangle shape, and I'm just going to go from here to about there, and I'm going to now import my wallpaper to that, and let's go with the red again, and I'm going to click, and I'm going to bring it straight in, and it's clipped itself into there. Alright, I am going to just go right click, and I'm going to duplicate that and put that to the side here, and I'm going to keep it highlighted, and I'm going to do the same thing with the blue. Bring it straight in. Alright, so there are my two designs. Now if I click onto my template, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to bring to the front, and as you can see that, let's just make you slightly bit bigger and bigger. Alright, so now if you have a look here, this is what my template looks like. Alright, so it is a different template, so I provide you with both. Okay, if you bring that now on top, you will see that I just need to just bring you down, move you further out, and move you further out. Okay, and then you just bring that on top. So that's what it's going to be looking like. And then all you need to do then is to bring in, let me just ungroup these because I'll just use the same ones. Let's do these ones instead. So what we need to do is, obviously it's going to go to the back, so we need to go right click and bring to front, and the same with you, right click and bring to front. Alright, so then we're going to pop you in there, and I'm going to pop you in there. Now these ones obviously are a little bit smaller than this gigantic one, so you can click and drag and make it smaller if you want to. Alright, and let's pop you in there, and let's pop you in there. Alright, and then that's what you would how you would make your banner. And then what you can do is, if you're wanting to use these, let's click, and I am going to bring you to the front, but then I'm going to click you and bring you back to the front, because ideally I want to kind of snap you into position like there. Let's make you slightly bit bigger. So that's if you're wanting to use some sort of clip art. Your template, when you import it, just so you are aware, will be a little bit different to mine, because I will have my logo written across it, and then at the bottom too, it just helps prevent people from using my templates and selling it as their own. With this here, if I just went ahead and hit send, it's not going to be able to cut it out because it doesn't recognize it. It only recognizes the shapes that I have already imported in, or the shapes that I've already done in my on my software or on my canvas. Okay, so this is the way how I have figured out how to do it. If there is another way that's an easier way, please do let me know in the comments down below, but this is the way how I have found it to be work well. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight everything and I'm going to group it together. I'm then going to go file and I'm going to save it, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to save it onto my desktop just for now. So onto my desktop, and then I'm going to save it as a JPEG file. Okay, and I'm just going to use as an example and call this example C, and I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to hit save. Okay, now what you can do is, if you're wanting to save this, so at least you've got a copy of it sitting in your file, it's up to you. But what I like to do is enter, add a new canvas by clicking onto the plus sign, and then all I'm going to do is find that design we just saved, and I'm just going to import that back in as a JPEG file. So here it is, and as you can see, it's a really, really big file. So I am going to reduce the size. Now once again, this might not be the correct way of doing it, but this is the way I have found out to be the easiest way and the quickest way. Alright, so now what you can do is, so the first thing I would suggest is we're going to trace and we're going to remove the background. Okay, and we're going to do that by hitting the trace, select, and we're just going to highlight that. And what we're going to do is we're going to increase the threshold, so now it is covering just this part here and that part there. Now by looking at that, that one actually looks a lot bigger than that one. Let me just go out of here and see that for a second. Yes, it is. Let me just go here and see what's happening. Okay, that is why, because this, my friend, needs to be moved over. Okay, and then you just need to be made smaller. And okay, so that's what happened. That one there wasn't as big as the other one. Okay, but you kind of get the idea anyhow. So let's just go trace and let's highlight everything, and I'm going to move my threshold. Let's see what happens when I go to 100. Nope. Alright, so I would say about there is pretty good. So I'm going to actually hit the trace one, not trace and detach, just trace. Okay, so once you have done that, I'm going to take my design and move it to the side. What I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to highlight everything, and I'm going to go to object, and I'm going to click on to release compound, and it's actually going to detach everything. And what I want is this piece and this piece, and all of this I can throw away. Alright, I'm going to then bring back my design in, and then I am going to bring in my, you can see that one's way bigger than that one. Alright, let's bring you back on top, and let's bring you back in place too. I'm just going to zoom in slightly to see what's happening here. So let's just move you to there, and then you, my friend, need to go down. Oh, no, I'm using the wrong one. Let's go back there. and let me just find this one. I'll bring you back there. Okay, so let's go back out. All right, so now that we've got them perfectly placed back onto our banner, we're then going to highlight everything like that, and we are going to highlight everything, and we're going to click on to object, modify, and crop. Okay, and then you will find that if I take my designs, there's nothing behind it. But the reason why we had to do the trace and the release compounds and that, or we want to tell the cutting machine where it needs to cut. Okay, so bring it back in. Now if I go over to send and I click on to edge only, it's now going to cut out my design. Okay, just another thing that I thought is quite helpful is if you are wanting to have a I don't know if you've noticed in some happy birthday banners they have that line that goes across, and you use that line as your guide to fold over over your ribbon to attach to your banner. So the ribbon will attach to your banner, and by doing that you would obviously fold the cardstock over. Okay, now if you want to take it one step further and have that already done for you with your cutting machine, so all you have to do then is just fold it, because it's already got the I can't remember what the name is offhand. I've had a bit of a brain. Okay, but whatever it's called, what you would need to do is we'll click over here to your lines, and I would go over here and I will change it to like serrated edge. No, not serrated edge. I can't remember the name, but anyhow, I am just going to go a little bit closer so I can see what I'm doing, and I'm going to go, say for instance I am happy with about there, that I'm going to fold it, and I'm going to hit my shift key. So I'm going to click and I'm going to hold my shift key, and I'm going to go all the way to the end. The reason why you hold the shift key is it keeps it completely straight. Alright, and then let's just do this part here, and I'm wanting to say it's about there, and let's do the same thing all the way across to about there. Alright, so what you can do is, let's just go back out here. You can have it just like that, okay, and then you can go straight to your file, and it will, sorry, to your send button, and you will see now it's going to cut out the outside edge, but it's also going to cut your fold lines for you too. Another thing you can also do, let's just go back to our previous design, which is this one here. Another thing you could also maybe do, I'll just move, let's just take you all, click you all, move it to the side. Alright, so another thing you can also do is having a circle around too, which adds just that little bit more design to it, you can say. And by doing that, all we're going to do is go to the shape, and I'm going to click onto the circle. I'm going to hit the shift key, and I'm just going to click, and I'm going to drag a circle. By hitting the shift key, once again, it keeps it in proportion. Alright, and keeping it highlighted, you will see that there's no colors. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to make it say white, and then I want the outside edge to be black. But I also want it to be black, but I'm wanting to make the, let's say 2. So the outline to be as thick as 2. Alright, and I'm then going to click, and I'm going to drag you in there, and I'm actually just going to make you slightly bit bigger, about there. And I'm going to click, actually I'm going to click you, and I'm going to bring to the front. Alright, and let's just bring you back in to about there, and I'm going to click, and I'm going to make you a little bit smaller, and pop you back in there. Okay, you could do something like that, or you can probably use a different color too. I think white's maybe too boring. Let's go with, say, I'm going to use this, and I'm going to find a blue. Nope, let's go with another color? What about this yellow? Let's go with yellow. Perfect. I love it. All right, and then the outside I'm going to make it white, so then that stands out a little bit more, and then I'm going to make that, say, let's make it 4. All right, so you could do something like that, and you can do it with all the letters. What you could also do is add in this one here, and I'm going to make a thing, but I am going to move you up. Oopsie, wrong one. Bring you back. Let's just grab you and let's make you about there, so it's kind of in the middle. All right, and let's have that color to be a red. So let's go into here, and I'm going to just pick a red, say for instance this color red here, and then I'm going to make the border also a white, and I'm going to make that, say, 5. Yep, that could work. All right, and then let's click and drag you out to about there. All right, so what I would suggest then is let's bring you to the front, and then you to the front. Okay, and then I'm just going to make you a lot smaller. What you can do is obviously cut that too if you wanted to. So you could do even something like that if you wanted to. I'm not really liking that yellow. Let's go with more of a brighter yellow. Maybe something like that. Okay, you could even add, you can do half of it this color, and then that half a different color. You could do this color on top like that. Let's just bring you slightly bit down. That is pretty much what I have for you. So I hope you found this video helpful and you will give it a go and use my letters. Please feel free to share your designs and your photos with me over in my Facebook group so I can see what you guys come up with using these letters. And please feel free to like, share, subscribe, share this video with your friends and family, and thank you for your support, and I will see you in the next video. Take care guys. Bye.